and welcome to today's edition of the Imo Economy webinar series, brought to you by the Office of the Chief Economic Advisor to the Imo State Government. My name is Professor Kenneth Amechi. I hold a chair in Business and Sustainable Development at the University of Edinburgh. I also hold a chair in Sustainable Finance at the European University Institute, Florence in Italy. And I work as the Chief Economic Advisor to the Imo State Government on a part-time basis. So today we'll be talking about opportunities in livestock. And I have very interesting guests that would explore with us the opportunities in this space. But before we continue, I want to invite my co-moderator, Dr. Jude Nzako, to say a word or two to you.
Thank you, Prof. Hello, listeners. I welcome you all to today's webinar. I hope your attention today will bring you some result. It's promised to be a very wonderful discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me also invite the Honorable Commissioner for Livestock to say a word or two to our audience.
Okay. Prof, I would first of all like to thank you for this wonderful initiative you have come up with. I've listened to your programs since we got inaugurated, and you have really done very well in this area. I think today I'm opportune to speak on the livestock activities in Imo State. And as a ministry, I think I'm the second commissioner in the ministry. And we have done a lot to revive the ministry. When we came on board, everything was in a static state. But today, the ministry has been revived. We have a lot of activities going on. When we came, we inherited a poultry farm at Acharubo, which was something brought by now the National Agricultural Land Development Authority. Is an empowerment program attracted by His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Imo State, to encourage the youths of Imo State and keep them active with livestock business. So we got that commissioned, and the ministry took over the farm. We had over 15,000 birds in the farm as at then, 194 goats, and over 150 pigs. And we successfully managed the birds and got them disposed, of course, because the birds were broilers. And the Acharubo farms has been also successfully managed by the ministry. We still have activities going on there. We are bringing in new birds there very soon. Our pigs are doing very well. The goats there are also thriving, even though we have had cases of thefts, but we are doing very well there. The ministry is also trying to revive the Songhai facility at Nekede. If you recall, during the time that Acharubo Farm was commissioned, His Excellency made it known that the Songhai facility, that he had also got approval from His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, had got approval of 18 billion naira from him to revive the Songhai facility at Nekede. We also have some, livestock activities going on there, even though we haven't raised it to the level we would want it to be. And that will be done as soon as the approval His Excellency got is put into the place. We have also started work in some of our fishery facilities in the States. We have a facility at Abukwa, We have also one at Tuguta. We've started making arrangements to revive all those facilities and put them into proper use. A lot of things are happening in the ministry. Our workers also are involved in extension services. We have, livestock extension officers who go from farm to farm in the state to educate farmers and also get our farmers registered. I want to tell you, we have a very thorough database of all the farmers we have in the states, courtesy of the extension officers we have in the ministry. So our workers are up and doing, and they are committed to the work we are doing in the ministry. In the farmers registration, we have data on fish farmers in the state, pig farmers, cattle farmers, and also poultry farmers. So this was done through the help of our extension officers. Besides all these, activities I've mentioned, we have also, through the help of His Excellency, attracted some World Bank projects, like the Press project, which is the livestock productivity and resilience support program. It's a project that was attracted by His Excellency and is solely sponsored by World Bank. This particular project aims at improving livestock production and livestock resilience so that the country as a whole can counter or resist any kind of crisis, be it food crisis or any other crisis that may affect the country. So it's a project that will help the rural farmers, empower them economically and make them viable economically. And we keyed into that project. His Excellency graciously paid the counterpart funding of 20 million naira, and we'll be among the first 7 states that will be used as pilot states for this project. It's gonna commence very soon because everything has been put in place for the project. We have equally got an office for our state implementation team. We have also another project we call the SAPZ project. The SAPZ project is another donor agency funded project, but this time around it is funded by African Development Bank, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, and the Islamic Bank. These 3 banks came up with this idea and decided to fund it. So this SAPZ project is a government-enabled but private sector-driven project that aims to increase foreign exchange earning through livestock activities.
Okay, great. Okay, fine. So, Honorable Commissioner, I'll still bring you back at some point. So, the idea is to probably listen to our guest speakers, and they will share their views and also highlight some of the opportunities they see, and probably also some of the challenges they see in doing their work in Imo State. And I'll invite you back in to reflect on those and prepare some solutions as we go ahead. So let me go over to Dr. Agor. Just introduce yourself and then tell our audience what you do. And after that, explore some of the opportunities you think are available in the livestock space for Imo people.
My name is Dr. Agor Emmanuel Chima. I am a veterinary doctor by training. I'm a veterinary consultant by practice, and we're engaged in a livestock production management and consultancy. I happen to be the MD and CEO of Ace Vet Consult here in Owerri. We've been in a veterinary consultancy for close to 28 years in the state. And currently, I happen to be the chairman of the Poultry Association of Nigeria Imo State chapter. On the opportunities that abound in livestock production in Imo State, I see livestock production as a gold mine, as a hidden treasure that most people do not see because they lack the requisite information about it. The livestock production is one area that you can get into no matter how little your resources or your funds are. And if you are committed and you're diligent, in very short time, and by short time, I mean under 1 year, you'll be rolling in millions. If you get your act, you can get your act right. Now, for instance, let me start with piggery. Piggery is one sector that if you have the facilities, by facilities, I mean the structures in a conducive environment, you can start with just one boa. By boa, I mean the male, and say three or four cows, I mean, or in pigs, I mean pregnant pig. And that's your take-off stock. And within 6 to 8 months, you could have over 70 animals in your farm. And your startup pack in terms of finance might not be more than 150,000 naira. So the challenge we have most times is that people do not have the requisite information or are not aware of the potential hidden in this sector.
Okay, but Dr. Chima, why is you on that?
Yeah.
You said 150,000. What would this 150,000 do? Would it be the cost of putting in place where you will keep these animals as well as the cost of buying the animal?
No, the cost of, when I mean 150,000, I mean the cost of buying the animals and your startup fee. Now, putting the place, piggery is also one business that does not require very aesthetic or fanciful structures. Okay.
Yeah, because the pig is not, is it?
Yes, the pig itself is not. Yeah, it's not fanciful and it's not interested in your aesthetic.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, the pig is so prolific in production that under 8 months, that number that you started with will multiply by 10 or even 20. So that's the beauty of.
So if that's the case, why are many
pig,
people not into it? This opportunity you've highlighted in terms of piggery.
Like I said, lack of information. Lack of information, basically.
Okay.
And then piggery too, even in terms of medical requirement, because most people dread livestock for fear of health challenges. But piggery, for instance, is one area that all you need to do is to do the basics and keep the environment hygienic, and you won't have much problem. The basics do not really cost much. Basic regular deworming of your animals, and then you feed them well. The pigs generally feed on leftovers, more or less. Almost everything you use to feed pigs are leftovers. Leftovers from your kitchen, leftovers from the oil extraction, the popular one, PKC, leftovers from the breweries. Bottom line is leftovers.
Okay. Okay, great. I think Dr. Nzako wants to come in, but Dr. Nzako, please.
Yes, Dr. Gore, thanks for that information, but I want to find out from you, besides producing the pigs, how about the offtake? Do you have ready market for farmers that have got pigs to sell? Do you have ready market for that?
Now let me wow you. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, go on. Go on. Yes,
let me wow you, right? The pigs produced in Imo State, for instance, now, right, cannot even satisfy the market within Imo State, our neighboring just southeastern states. I'm not even talking about south. The truth is, like I said, if you have the right information about how to sell your pigs, then you never have a problem with market. But most times people get into businesses without doing the requisite feasibility studies and market surveys. They dabble into it, and at the end of the day, they have products in their hand before they begin to worry about how to sell them, which is the wrong way to go about issues.
Okay, thanks for that. And you've talked about, obviously, the positive side of this piggery business. How about the challenges that farmers may experience in the course of, during the 8-month period before they start harvesting or getting the pig to the market? What challenges do you think they will face?
The only challenge you might face is the fluctuations in, for instance, right now, because of the nature of the country, fluctuations in prices of inputs. By inputs, I mean the materials you need to feed the pig. But they are readily available, actually. The other challenges you can face are health challenges. But like I said, if you have a vet doctor, an experienced practitioner, or livestock practitioner by your side guiding you, you have no problem. Certainly,
Okay.
Everything that has life comes down with one health challenge at one point or the other. But if you have the right people beside you, then your road is smooth.
All right, thank you. We'll come back to you later.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Let me go over to Chijioke Uchebu. Chijioke Uchebu, do you want to introduce yourself first and also tell us about some of the opportunities you see in the livestock business for Imo people? Just introduce yourself and where you are.
Yes, I'm Uchebu Chijioke, the CEO of Livestock Specialties Limited, immediate past chairman of Poultry Association, the current national vice president of Catfish and Allied Fish Farmers Association of Nigeria. I'm a practicing animal health personnel. I am presently into integrated farming, piggery, poultry, fishery, and goats production. There are quite enormous opportunities in the livestock industry in Imo State. I'm telling you, if I can just start from the poultry. Poultry, if I may say, is one of the most popular livestock opportunities in Imo State. In the old eastern Nigeria, I believe the other sister states were actually depending on Imo State, like Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Rivers, all of them were coming to Imo in the early 80s, until lately, maybe as a result of either encouragement or whatever, that made them now to start competing or overtaking us. But I'm telling you, we have quite a good number of consumers. Imo, if I may say, is the economic hub of the old eastern Nigeria and present southeast. Is one of the majorly seen tourist center where people can just come and relax out despite the current challenges in the terms of security. Poultry has a lot of opportunities, if I may say. They have opportunities that can employ the youths, the areas of commercial egg production. It is a high demand. Breeders production, what I mean, the parent stock production, the ones that can produce the ones that are laying eggs, the point of lay production. We go as much.
While we still have you, right?
Yeah.
If I want to go into poultry business today, what would you advise me to do? Where would you want me to start and how much would that cost me?
To start in the poultry industry, it does not require much funds to start. For you to start a poultry business, you can, with 150,000, 200,000, you can raise 100 or 2 cartons of beds. That a carton is about 50. You can raise 2 cartons of beds in a given area. 2 cartons of bed, that's 100. What you just require is about let's say 2 coaches of block, 2 coaches, then wire mesh. 2 coaches of the block cannot take you more than, let's say, something like between 50 to 70 blocks. Are you with me? I'm trying to put up the video. Now, with that, not more than 70 blocks, then you put up the mesh. When you talk of the mesh, you are having the kind of types. The quality ones, a bundle is about 40,000 or 45,000, which might be about 3 mm or 4 mm at Obosisi here. You can just buy 2, that's about 80,000. The blocks is about between 150 to 200 naira. That is about 200, 2 times 7 is about 14,000 or so. The 70, that's about 14,000. So By the time you put it up, a carton of bed now, as at yesterday, is 21,000 naira. So for two cartons, you are having about between 21 and 23,000, which is 46,000 for 2 cartons, or 42,000 naira for 2 cartons. It depends on the hatchery you are patronizing. Now, you put up something like 100 beds. What it will take you to raise 100 broilers. A carton of broiler being 2 cartons of broiler being that 46,000, it may not require more than 6 bags of starter feed at 11,000, which is 66,000. The super finisher may not be more than 15 bags, which is around 10.5 per bag, which is around 57,500. When you calculate the cost of procuring the day-old chicks, the cost of feeding, now add the 5% of the total cost, which is 5% of total cost, which might give you the cost of the medication, around 13,175. So the total cost might not be more than the DOC 46,000, 6 bags of starter 11 at 11,000, which is 66,000, 15 bags of super starter, which is 10.5 at 157,000, medications and vaccines, which is 5% of the 3 above mentioned, 13,750, labor for 2 months, because for you to raise a broiler, you just calculate at 8 weeks, which is 2 months, but you can as well sell in 6 weeks. So total cost with energy and logistics, 15,000 is around 337,750. If you less 10% mortality, that means you might be harvesting around 90 beds instead of 100 beds.
And
so
that's how much then? How much will you?
That is 3,000. That is around 3,752.7 naira. Are you getting me?
Yes, but just help us here with the amount of money involved.
Yes, the amount of money involved. The total money is 337,750.
So that's the investment side, but how much do you make from it? Because somebody will be saying
you are making nothing less than 100,000 naira. And if you are selling at this 8 weeks, you might be selling between 4,500, between 4,800 and 5,500. That means you are making nothing less than 1,000 per bed.
No, but the point there, Chijoke, if you look at it in terms of my time, I'm saying I'm investing 50,000 naira.
Yes.
For 2 months, I'll make 100,000. That's I'm making 50,000 per month, right?
Yes, yes.
So how motivating would that be for an average young person in Imo State? What else can give?
You are not even, you are not going to use almost, because you have now added the charcoal that you, like in the energy, the charcoal that you have brought in, you might not, brooding, what we have just calculated here is within maybe brooding of within 2 weeks. But in some cases, it can just even take between 7 days and 10 days for you to do your brooding, thereby cutting down the cost of even energy. Are you getting me?
What you are saying in essence is that the minimum I can get is about 50,000, but I can get more per month.
You can get as much as 80,000 naira per month. That is 160 in 2 months.
Okay, that's fine. I see more than more than the minimum wage, which is about 30,000 naira, isn't it? So
yes, sir. So that's looking at it. Does that. So other opportunities. This is in terms of that. You can as well raise the point of lay, the broiler DOC. Then there are people we have also created opportunities for you, like the transporters, who go to the villages to even get all these things, all these beds that are coming. But the only thing it requires actually is maintaining the biosecurity, because they are also the purveyors or the transmitters of the diseases that can as well affect our farm. But if we can put, like as a challenge, if we can put in place a means through the veterinary practitioners, animal health or the animal scientists, a way to quietly vaccinate, quarantine, or even disinfect all these vehicles that can be bringing out all these things to the cities, that can create employment through our transportation. Other areas are the people that are distributing veterinary drugs. In fact, if you go to the southwest of Nigeria, I'm telling you that poultry is the major engine that is employing and reducing youth unemployment. When I mean southwest, I mean Oyo, Ogun. Yes, Oyo, Ogun, Ondo, even Lagos, because there are a wide range of what I call the value chain. So the value chain.
Let me ask you a question. I learned that we are not able to meet the demands of poultry, what do I call them? Demand in Imo State. Is that correct? That, you know,
Yes.
sometimes we need to get them from outside Imo State to
You
fulfill
are
the
very,
orders.
yes, you're very, very correct. Very, very correct.
So we have many hotels and we pride ourselves to be the hospitality capital of the Southeast at least, but we can't feed the people who come into these hotels, right?
Yeah, we have many hotels. Like I told you, that is the tourism hub around here. You can, I think I've noticed from your research that somebody might be having a meeting in Port Harcourt. He wants to come and lodge in Imo State. So thereby eating, the consumption of chicken here is high. Even pork, even pork. Something like if you get to ShopRite here, there are a lot of superstores now, supermarkets that have sprung up in Imo. The market square, they save more, and pork cannot even last. If you go to their shelf, the ones they bring out in the morning, before 12 o'clock, they have finished it. The same thing with chicken.
Okay, okay, great. Let's take a break there, and once after that we go to Joyce. But if you're just joining us, this is the Imo webinar series brought to you by the Office of the Chief Economic Advisor to the Imo State Government. And today we are exploring opportunities in livestock business. So, and we have an interesting set of panelists that are exploring this. So Joyce, let me go to you. You have been in this space for a while now. Do you want to please introduce yourself and tell us the opportunities you see in livestock for Imo people?
Yes, I'm Lady Joyce Eke. I'm an animal scientist. I read animal science and I retired from Imo ADP as the Chief Livestock Officer. I had an office where I do consultancy, Jiduzo Joy Agro Service Limited, where we do consultancy in livestock and other things in agriculture there. Now, apart from, I've had what Mr. Chijoke and Dr. Ago discussed as opportunities. I would like to look at one or two areas. Prof, please, in Imo State here, we need a feed industry. It's very, very important. Feed industry, we are the one of the highest consumer of feed in Nigeria. Dr. Chijoke can attest to that. He's a distributor. Before you bring in feed from other states to Imo State, it's a problem. And if we have one, it will help us a lot. It will reduce the cost of transportation and other problems on the roads.
Do you want to explain what you mean by feed industry? Because you know the ordinary person listening to you may not have an understanding.
Yes, feed, I mean feed meal. I mean feed meal. Just like we have top feed, we have vital feed. All these feeds are coming in from a hybrid, coming from Kaduna, Kanu, all those places. We don't have any standard.
Is that for chicken, or for poultry, or for piggery, or you know, what's the feed for?
It's for poultry mainly, poultry, and then sometimes piggery for poultry. Since we are one of the highest consumer, it's necessary that we have it here in Imo State.
What about fish? Would this also go into fishery?
I want to look another area that is untapped in Imo State. I still want to go into that area. I'm looking at rabbit rearing. I want to go into that area. We are not looking into that area. It is one of the livestock you can establish with very little income. I said you can start with 12 by 12 room apartment, well ventilated. You bring in your hatches into the room, and then you can start with one buck and then 3 doe. The buck is the male and the doe are the females. You can start with them. Now, when what you use in feeding rabbit is very, very cheap. That's why I want us to look at that area. You know, you can start your rabbits with forages like Panicum C1. You can start with some forages like Centrosima and Pureria. All these are forages you can see around. And then you can have a all your good kitchen waste. You have your good kitchen waste around you, and then very small grower feed. You've started your business of a rabbit rearing.
And how much do you need to do that? We'd like to go to the money.
You can start, apart from the structure, you can start with 80 to 100,000. You have started your business.
And how long will it take you to recover that investment?
Let's take it 4 to 5 months. You start looking at investment. And you know, rabbit is highly prolific. It's between 27 to 29 days, 29 to 31 days. They start producing. It's highly prolific. And you don't need to kill yourself doing this, doing that. When they give birth to they are kitting the young ones, they take care of it at a state that you see them coming out. You don't need to spend too much on rabbit rearing. And apart from that, you can be a breeder. You can be breeding and other people can be buying from you. Now, apart from the rabbit meat, you can overlook down the meat. You see, some breeds like Flemish giant, some breeds like black giant, they can weigh from 7.8 to 9.9 kg approximately, and they are good meat. You can harvest the foals from rabbits and give it to processing.
So if I want to go into that rabbit business, who do I go to in Imo State now? I mean, do I come to you, or who is there to help me?
It's not all that difficult. You can come to me. You can come to any other livestock specialist. You only source for the rabbit, put up the structure, and then you start your
many people are listening to us now. We want to be as practical as possible. And you say, come to me. So let's assume I'm in one village and I love what I'm hearing and I want to do it. What will you advise me to do? Who in Owerri or anywhere in Imo State can I go to? Where do I get the support? Where can I get the rabbit?
If you source for rabbit, you can get from the north. You can get from the North Central. You can get a lot of rabbits from them. It's available.
So nobody knows what I can give me. Why should I go to the north for it?
You will get from it, but not all that enough. That's why I'm saying that we should create awareness. We need a lot of awareness in rabbit production, because if you look at it, the meat is cholesterol free. That's why I'm encouraging us to go into rabbit rearing. If you look at the urine, it's a complete fertilizer. If you look at the feces, it's a fertilizer. So all these are opportunities which we can go in. We need to create awareness, encourage our youth, and then kind of enlightenment to our people to be eating rabbit meat. That side, nobody has taken care to look into that opportunity in livestock.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Jude wants to come in. You have an idea, solution to this rabbit problem, right?
Well, I really don't have any idea at all, Prof. But I'm just wondering, who really would fancy this rabbit meat? Madam, would you say we have existing market for the rabbit meat in Imo State? Have you got one of them? Have you got any farm at all? Do you produce rabbits at the moment?
Information, I would say that for the time being now, the researchers are looking for it. The medical students are always looking for rabbits. Then the researchers are looking for it. They buy it, they use it in there. You know, rabbit is monogastric. It's just like our own intestine. They use it and test their drugs. But the people that know, like at Abuja now, the people are going into rabbit meat because of the non-existence of cholesterol in the meat. So I'm encouraging us to see it as an opportunity.
Okay, as a consultant in this area, do you have a small farm here that people can reference and say, yes, you produce about 100 of them in a month and you're able to sell them and make profit? Do you have anything like that?
I think a small farm at all, but not all that big. Though I've forgotten the name of the farmer, yes.
Okay. Well, it'd be nice also to disclose your contact so that those who may be interested may contact you and explore that opportunity as well. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
So where can they find you? I think that's the question Dr. Jude is asking.
I introduced myself. I said I have an office at 20B Assumpta Avenue, opposite Holy Ghost College, Owerri. 20B Assumpta Avenue, opposite Holy Ghost College, Owerri. And my banner is there. Jidu Zojoy, Agro and Consultancy Services is there.
Okay, brilliant. So before I let you go, what do you see? Because we are also trying to encourage local communities, kindreds to go into some kind of collective or cooperative. Do you see this rabbits and other things we've discussed as possible opportunities where communities can come together and create businesses as opposed to doing it individually?
Yes, yes. Myself, when I was in the service, I worked under Imo ADP are under National Program for Food Security. I think I had so many sites where I trained farmers on poultry, varietal studies on cassava, and then fish rearing. All I need to advise there is, when you are going into community for such projects, you have to be very, very careful. First, you have to look for common interest group. I use that language of common interest group. Find out the people that are interested before you go into that communal something. Because when I did those programs, first of all, I'll go into the community, address them 2 or 3 or 4 times. From my address and from their reactions, I'll pick the people that are interested. Because if you just jump into them, when they come in, they will gather. When they come and see that maybe everybody wants to collect the money and go. When they find out that it's not a venture of where you collect the money and go, you see them running out. But when you get the people that are very much interested in what you're doing, they will join up. It's worth doing. That time I trained about 45 to 50 farmers on ground on poultry production. I think I had a site at 2 sites at Temi. I had at Nazi. I had at Akwakoma, Owerri West. It's worth doing. But let us see the people that are interested before you engage in such program. Thank you.
Okay. The Honorable Commissioner, do you want to reflect on what you've had so far? Joyce talked about the need for establishing a feed mill or feed mills in Imo State. And there have also been talks about opportunities in poultry, piggery, fishery. What are your thoughts so far based on what you've had?
I said I would want to thank all those who have spoken. And I think I heard Madam Joy very well. What she said makes a lot of sense. I've always thought about it. One of the problems we have in the state, especially the poultry farmers, is problem of sourcing for the feed for the poultry farms. Most of the supplies we get in Imo State and most of the southeastern states is from Kaduna, mostly from Olams. And if you recall, in one of our discussions, I mentioned to you, I had made efforts to drag Olams to Imo State to invest at the Avoto poultry farms. Though we are still talking on that, I have equally discussed that with His Excellency, the Governor. We are looking at the possibilities of reviving our poultry farms. And one of the things we have in mind is to introduce a feed mill in that farm. I think discussion is ongoing in that aspect. She also mentioned the need to have rabbit farming in the state. It's a very wonderful initiative. Frankly speaking, as the Commissioner for Livestock, I haven't thought in that direction. Maybe, probably because of the fact that rabbit is not a common animal in terms of livestock production. And also, I have not seen the much market needs for rabbit meat. But from what she said now, I think it's something worth investing on. I don't know the research need for rabbit in our locality, but I know that most of our research work is done with mice, smaller, animals like mice because of the less expensive nature of that. But from what she said, she made a very important point on the public health, advantage of rearing that in our state. She said it has a very low level of cholesterol, and if you think in that direction, you will see the need to go into that kind of business because of its health benefits, which she has clearly outlined. So, Madam Joy, I think We may have more discussion on that if you find time to, visit us. We have projects coming on, as I earlier mentioned. The livestock, the EPRESS project, could help to, cover such projects. We are looking at the possibility of empowering some cooperatives. If we have, our farmers who have organized themselves in different cooperatives, and also in different value chains. For example, those who are into rabbit rearing, I think we can look in that direction to get them empowered.
So what sort of environment are we thinking of here, Honorable Commissioner? Not just to put you on the spot, but would it be in terms of skill development? Will it be in terms of vaccination, or some other intervention that may not necessarily be money? It could also be money, right?
Yeah, of course. Monetary involvement is there, and also skill empowerment is also part of the EPRESS project. It encompasses a whole lot of things. It also involves creating of service centers. For example, if we have, production of rabbits or poultry or any kind of livestock, we also need to create a place where such animals can be processed in case we do not want to sell them as live animals. So there are different, packages involved in the project. I have always, spoken to the livestock farmers in the state that this is an area that will benefit them so much. All we need is for them to organize themselves in different cooperatives, working in different livestock value chains. And by the time the implementation starts, the whole thing becomes clearer, and the livestock farmers in the state will benefit from this project.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. I think what you have said there is that there is an opportunity also for private investors who want to come into the feed mill. So they don't need to be a livestock farmer, but they can also support them in that regard. So that in itself is a business opportunity. And just to mention, when we run this program, people think it's all about talk. Recently, we've also been receiving a lot of success stories. And somebody reached out to mention that he received a multi-billion-dollar project as a result of listening to this program. So that in itself is a big plus. So if you are just joining us, this is the IMO webinar series brought to you by the Office of the Chief Economic Advisor. My name is Kenneth Amechi, and I'm co-anchoring it with Dr. Jude Nzako. Chijoke, you're into goats, right? Do you want to talk about opportunities? At least we understand goats more than rabbits.
Our people, we've discovered that people are now shifting from red meat, cow, towards goats, sheep and goat consumption. It's giving a lot of employment to backyard farmers in our villages. The youths, they are now trying to develop a serious interest in goat farming. One, because it does not require commercial purchase of feed, like you have in poultry, like you have in piggery, where you source for PKC. But for people like us that are into it commercially, I can tell you that we are now using what we are using to produce the pigs to feed the goats, and they are now maturing and growing faster. Where you use something like PKC with the cassava peel dried.
Sorry, what is PKC? Because
yes,
what
PKC is the pancake cake from oil palm. The pancake cake, yes. After processing it, when you must have extracted the oil, that is the one we now call PK oil, that are selling in the sea for as a vegetable oil. So the chaff, the waste, is now used in the rearing of goats, rearing of growing of goats, growing of pigs. So we now discover that the cost of goats is quite going up and up because the demand in Imo State, the demand within the Southeast or even the old Eastern Nigeria is something that is now growing on a geometrical rate. So I can tell you
how much can one use to start the goat business?
With 50,000. With 50,000, you can start a good business, a good farm. 2 females and 1 male. 2 females that will just be like 15,000 or 18,000 Ghana, or the one we call the what do you call it? The gilt, or that is the young female. Now that one, you have the 18,000, that's 36,000. Then one of the male, the young male, you just get it. That's 2 females and 1 male. With 50,000, you've started a good fund.
Okay.
Now, if you let it go, if you just moving around the environment, it will feed on its own. But one vital thing we have discovered that helps the goat to grow faster, even in my farm, is provision of neat water. In our local environments, they don't make this provision, and the provision of what we call the salt lick, or the vitamin block is used in the southwest, is used in the north, but here we've not known some of these things. If you provide the vitamin block for your goats at a particular point, either where they come back to drink water, you position it there. Anytime they just lick it, just like the way cattle.
Okay.
Lick it. So
okay, that's fine. I mean, Dr. Zako has a question for you. Probably.
All right, sir.
Yeah, Chijoke, I talked so much about this gold thing, but one of the problems that listeners may experience if they want to go into this business could be that there is not enough information in the public space for them to start. It may look simple to you, but is there any place where a starter could find information on how to start a goat farm business?
Yes, sir. I am Livestock Specialties. I'm a practicing animal health professional. My office is at 192 Wedra Road. Is a big place opposite the Labour Party, Old Obosisi. And I have my farm also. I've been training people for the past 12 years. Okay. Who wants to go into good production, even piggery, poultry, and fishery. So especially our people have been going into it in droves since 1 or 2 years now. Yes, sir.
Okay, this training you offer, is it free or do you charge fees for that?
We charge a token because we are trying to make people come in.
Chima, do you want to share further insights? And after that, I'll invite Joyce before we wrap up.
Okay, yeah, I spoke about piggery. Well, I'm an expert in actually every aspect of livestock, so I just started to take up with piggery. Piggery, like I said earlier, the advantage it has is one, the acceptability of the meat. Last speaker, Honorable Chijoke, mentioned the.
Do you want to reflect on some of the things you mentioned, the rabbit? What other opportunities do you see?
Before I go in for further this thing on rabbits, I want to make a passionate appeal. Thank God that you're here and the Honorable Commissioner is here. I'm the state coordinator for sheep and goat farmers here in Imo State. We really need assistance and your help. Thank God for the L-Press program coming up. Mr. Chijoke has said a lot on sheep and goat rearing. Opportunities are there because in sheep, you have meat. Apart from the meat, you have the skin, you have the wool. All these are products from sheep. In most countries, like some East African countries, they process their goat milk, which is very, 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 very nutritious, but we don't have it here. So I would like us to look at that side of goat, and then look at the skin. I think goat skin and leather is one of the best so far for leather industry. I would like us to look in that. Let us encourage our youth. First of all, let them see sheep and goat rearing as a very big opportunity. You can go in for production. My duty is to produce. Production, after production, marketing. Another person can come and buy it. Marketing. You can be a processor. You can have an abattoir where you process your goat milk, meat. You can process. So
okay.
please, I really need help on that side as the state coordinator. Thank you, sir.
Okay, fine. At least you've got the Honorable Commissioner here. You also have Dr. Jude Nzako, so the two of them should be able to help. And if you're struggling still, I'll be happy. My office will be happy to support you. And one of the things that I would like you to crave your indulgence, all of you here, is that we are running this One Kindred, One Business initiative where we want to encourage every person, every family in Imo State Kindred to have at least one business. And some of them are looking towards livestock. So it'd be nice to see how we can collectively support each other. Some of these kindreds we can signpost to you, Chijioke for training, to Joyce for consulting, and also to Dr. Chimago. So Dr. Chimago, do you want to switch off your video because it seems you have a low bandwidth, and maybe use a minute to summarize what you think might be a way forward? Because we need to wrap up in the next 3 minutes, otherwise the radio stations will kick us out. And goat and sheep and rabbit, what other opportunities and do we see, especially in veterinary side of things?
Well, the veterinary side of it, strictly speaking, requires, well, the truth is, in Imo State now, we can boast of as many veterinary doctors as possible. So the requisite background information that you need to get into any aspect of these businesses are there on the ground. All you need to do is to strike out. Right. But I think there's an area I want to speak on, which is where government can come in. I will cite an instance. Sometime in the late 90s, right? I anchored a program, a community program that was facilitated and sponsored by Shell Petroleum Industry, somewhere in Imaho, I think that's Egbema. The program was a community-run program. They aggregated youth in the community instead of allowing them room and then become restive. They aggregated them and they got them to run some kind of communal poultry and piggery. It was quite successful, and I don't know for what reason, maybe for reasons of insecurity, that they pulled out. And it was when they pulled out that program collapsed. So I think government can begin to think in that direction of instead of getting the youths to instead of being restive and always demanding for handouts, get them, facilitate them, give them starter packs, and then get them as groups or communities, so they can run a livestock projects together, and that way I think we'll get a lot of people off the streets and meaningfully engaged. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Time is not always our friend, as we say. So we come to the end of it, and this leaves me with an opportunity to thank our guests, Joyce Eke, Chijioke Uchemu, Chima Ago, and Edozie Madu. And also to thank the Honorable Commissioner for Livestock, Dr. Anthony Bahurike, and my co-host, Dr. Jude Nzako. I also want to use the opportunity to thank my team, Mrs. Jovita Agu, Ms. Adeza Shaheme, and Ms. Adeze Waka for putting together this program. It's always a pleasure sharing opportunities with yourselves. And please do follow us on our social media handles, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and all the other ones that you would advertise online as well. So it's been a pleasure hosting you today, and we wish you a pleasant afternoon and happy weekend. Bye-bye.